Avon, and more than 1 million Avon representatives worldwide. Bud Light, proud sponsor of the 1984 U.S. Olympic team. And Arco, Atlantic Richfield Company, proud sponsors of the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics.
Pascal Morvillier of France and his 12-year-old gelding Gulliver approaching the halfway point of this half-mile course with its 15 jumping efforts. France hoping to get a bronze, perhaps standing fourth as a team coming in.
That's right, Chris. They were hoping to get a bronze, and they thought that this might be a very critical clear round for them. As it turned out, Germany maintained their position by throwing 3 clear rounds in today, and that gave them the 2-point lead that France cannot make up no matter what Morvillier does. He's really riding for himself, and the credit to his team now.
Standing sixth, and this is the third and final test in the 3-day event. First dressage, then cross-country, which we hope you saw on Wednesday from Fairbanks Ranch, and now this show jumping.
Tremendous versatility on the part of these horses and riders. This is really something for them to do. The marathon, 17-mile cross-country course yesterday, and then to come back 2 days later and jump a show jumping course.
And if there are 2 words at your equestrian discipline, Chad Coffin, it would be complete test.
That's correct.
Horse and rider. So listen to this standing room only crowd. They said they sold 32,000 tickets. It looks like more here at Santa Anita. All right, we'll be back following this. The team gold winner at the '64 Tokyo Olympic Games. There he is.
He's really made quite a comeback, Chris. He's been out of it for a long time.
Runs his family business. He's an engineer.
Horse is jumping very well so far.
41 years old. The horse is 9.
Aiming at 5th place, or if somebody in front of him backs up a little bit and has a rail or 2 down, maybe something better than that. Not a dead aim on a medal at this moment, but right at the front end still.
Yet to ride, Torrance Watkins Fleischman of the United States, Virginia Holgate of Great Britain, and the surprising dark horse, Mark Todd of New Zealand, and in first, Karen Stives on Ben Arthur from the United States. This is
boy,
Kekulé.
is the pressure building. And round by round.
And Mauro Kekulé is really having a very good round. For someone who's been out of competition for a while, he's riding very accurately, he's riding very smoothly. The horse doesn't seem to be suffering the effects from the endurance phase on Wednesday.
One of only 4 gold medalists who are competing here at the Los Angeles Olympic Games, 1 in jumping, 2 in dressage, and Kekulé.
And he just gives that last rail of the combination of rub, but it stays up. Clear so far. And he has the last one down.
5 penalty points. Well within the time, 104 seconds. They're allowed 120 for Kekulé. A lot of applause.
And that's the same.
4 final riders coming up.
Giving him
The show jumping standing room only crowd for this the final phase of the 3-day event. Dressage, cross country, now show jumping, and great applause for Torrance Watkins Fleischman of the United States, standing fourth. After dressage, she was 10th. She has made up some ground, this 35-year-older from the Plains, Virginia.
Chris, the United States picked up the rail down that Mike had, but the British have 2 riders finished for a total of 5 penalty points. The United States has just 1 rider finished for a total of 5 penalty points with 2 rounds to go. So Torrance's round is a very critical round for the United States.
Third of the 4 United States riders. We still have Holgate of Great Britain, Todd of New Zealand, and Karen Stives of the USA. It's warm. Very, very hot, as a matter of fact, on that stadium floor, I'm sure. Sandy soil. And we haven't lost any of the fruit.
No, not so far. But this second fence has come down sometimes. She jumps that very well. Torrance was a former fashion model.
And a fragrance consultant.
That's right.
She's an accurate show jumping rider. This horse had a little bit of a problem yesterday on the steeplechase phase. He kind of ricked his back, and there was some concern as to whether or not he would tie up. In other words, really become quite lame. He didn't. He worked out of it. He wasn't quite as explosive on the cross-country course as he normally is, but he seemed to be perfect this morning, and he looks himself more nearly today. He's kind of draping that hind end over these fences, and that's what scares you, because horses have been hitting these fences behind and dragging them down. And he's not really flipping the rear the way he should.
And that's especially important for fence number 11, A, B, and C, which has been a combination that's come down quite a few times today.
Finvara, 11-year-old.
That may help him. He gave that thing a pretty good bump, and it stayed up. And it's a wonderful thing if a horse gets that reminder. And he gives out a little bit more air. The thing that worries me about him is the rear end. He may have a little soreness in the back still. The rear end is not really flipping, and he's kind of dragging it over these fences. You see what I mean?
It takes a very accurate ride when these horses are a little bit tired. There's no room for error.
Pretty good spread here.
Jumps that well.
Okay, we come down to the critical part of the course, fellas, and the tension builds.
The big turn and the line now to the triple.
She checks him back a little bit. Jumps in well, watch his hind legs.
We're close. Well, but there's still one to go.
And it's one that's
Mike Plum knocked down. Okay, we have Virginia Holgate, Mark Todd of New Zealand, Karen Stiles of the USA, and listen to those fans here at Santa Anita. Torrance Watkins Fleischman, is she happy? Thoroughbred Gelding, a horse that I truly love. There's so many here that I'd like to take home and put in our stable, Ted, and this is one of them. Of course, she's a lovely lady, too. All right, Torrance Fleischman with that clear round and an important one. The pressure was on. And now for Virginia Holgate. We first twist of the year, a nice gentle pat, and a happy pair. All right, here she is.
And Coach Jack Legoff really has to be pleased with her performance.
Yes, the American coach, a very successful one. Virginia Holgate on Priceless, 29-year-old from Badminton, Avon. And meanwhile, well, it takes teamwork to get these horses to the gate.
Sure does, and Torrance embraces her groom, and you can't imagine how many hours and days and months the groom has in Finvara's care. But here's Ginny, and Ginny has the weight of the world resting on her shoulders right now. She really has the weight of the world.
Here's a young lady that in 10 years went from junior champion to Burley winner, which is one of the great three-day tests.
That's correct. And while I haven't seen her show jump for quite a while, I remember her as being a very accurate show jump rider.
She almost lost Priceless when he was carrying a rare rat-inflicted disease. Overcame it after 6 weeks of a lot of nervousness.
He's jumping pretty well so far.
Yeah. First fence, now the second, wishing well.
And as you can see, he's a little droopy with his right front leg.
He kind of hung a knee there. Ginny is a very, very cool customer. But he looks as if he feels a little the effect of the endurance phase also. He's not just as bright as he was early in the week.
She improved her position at Fairbanks. After dressage, 7th, now standing 3rd.
Really jumped that one well.
That was a good fence. She's got a very good eye. She's a very accurate rider in the stadium jumping phase. A little bit flatty. The minute she turns his head loose, he starts to get a little bit flat. So she has to be terribly careful.
Bill, what do you mean flat?
Well, instead of really rounding the back and giving the fence some air, they just kind of glide over it by picking up their feet. And that's what a tired horse does. He's making a big effort over the big fences, but the little ones he's kind of taking some liberty with.
Interesting how he flips his tail over all of these fences.
Yeah. He's just a wonderful cross-country horse, this horse. Look at the wonderful expression. He just gave that a lot of air. He jumped that very, very well. He'll jump the triple bar, I believe, well, too, probably.
6 feet, 6 inches wide. Tremendous effort. She really stands off at that one.
Well, that was a quick gallop into that fence.
He jumped that just beautifully. You can see how much scope this horse has.
Another big spread fence there, Chris.
Mark Todd of New Zealand and Karen Stives of the USA in their battle for gold and silver coming up following Virginia Holgate of Great Britain.
Now, Jenny has really settled down. She looked very sure over the last few fences.
Jumping well here. Very well done. Clean so far.
Time is okay. No problem there. And there's
Torrance
watching with her heart in her throat, I'm sure. And Jenny is clear in the time.
Virginia Holgate of Great Britain. There is Torrance Watkins Fleischman of the United States, who had a clear round preceding, and a very important one, and Virginia has come through for the Brits.
And she's really letting him know that he was wonderful, and he was wonderful.
Okay,
look at the expression on his face.
Well, she may well be pleased because she's at the very worst a bronze medalist individually. And we know there's going to be a team medal here, too. We don't know what that team medal is going to be, but we sure know that Virginia has done her part.
There's the coach, Malcolm Wallace. Very pleased with that performance. Again, putting the pressure on the Americans.
Such TLC that you equestrian folks have for the horses. A lot of tender, loving care.
We give them royal treatment because they really give us royal treatment.
Now, coming into these Olympic Games, a three-day eventer from New Zealand. You talk about a dark horse. This was the man. The team in the Olympics for the first time, three-day eventers. He had come to Lexington only once, the only time he's been overseas. And we're speaking of Mark Todd, watched by more than 32,000 fans here at Santa Anita. Todd, who will be riding the 10-year-old brown gelding, New Zealand-bred Charisma, and they've had plenty of that together.
They certainly have, Chris. And if you'll notice, Mark Todd is 6'1", and the horse that he's riding, Charisma, is very small.
Hand in hand with the coach, Virginia Holgate, coming out to watch New Zealand's Mark Todd. There he is, 28 years old, 6'1", and 176 pounds.
A lot of pressure on him. If he can go clean without any jumping faults or time faults, he can really build it up for Karen Stives.
Right now, he's standing number 2 after a faultless performance at Fairbanks. That's what he wants here.
But he's only 2.4 penalty points behind Karen Stives. Karen could win it outright if she can go clear, no matter what Mark Todd does. But Mark really has a shot at a medal.
And he gives that second fence a good rub, but it stays up. Horse is looking a little tired from yesterday.
Clear round will put the pressure on America's Karen Stives, the leader. She will ride next.
She can hardly feel that added pressure of the individual medal, because I know, knowing Karen, that the team gold is uppermost in her mind. But both gold medals are on the line for Karen. Only the individual is on the line for Mark.
Mark knows pressure. He won badminton in 1980, one of the great tests in England for these three-day event riders and horses.
That's right, second with this horse only this year. So very redoubtable combination in three-day eventing.
Mark Todd's a very talented rider. The horse is a little tired. He's not giving the fences a lot of room, and that is going to require Mark to be very accurate. Which he's being. He's got the talent to be accurate.
I'm here with Tad Coffin and Bill Steinkraus, both gold medal winners. Tad at 1976, our three-day expert here.
Big spread for this little horse.
And how the tension builds. The FEI only this year changed their formula so that now the leader goes last, and that just creates pressure, pressure, pressure.
The International Equestrian Federation has certainly done a great job at picking sites along with the Los Angeles Organizing Committee, the triple.
And he's rubbed that one.
Another rub.
And it stays up.
One to go.
Rubbed all three.
He's having a very lucky round.
Yeah, but still alive with a clear round.
And he gives it a rub in front and back, but he's still clear. A tremendous ride.
118. Well, 2 seconds within the time, but he almost saw a medal go away.
He certainly did, but Mark's a very talented rider. He knows exactly how much stamina his horse has left. He didn't make the test of show jumping too difficult.
He'll at least get a silver.
Certainly will.
But it all depends on what happens next. And speaking of that, with his floppy ears right up there now, pricking beautifully, is Ben Arthur and Karen Stives. They're coming now from the holding ring, Bill, which is behind those temporary stands on this hot day. And they listen to the applause that Karen Stives receives here. And if this...
She'll be the first woman ever to win a gold medal in the three-day event.
And there's not another horse that I would rather do it on than Ben Arthur. He is a super horse.
And the audience response is just deafening. I must say that Ben Arthur seems to take it in very good grace. He doesn't seem to be upset.
She said at Fairbanks he skied the course like a slalom skier.